Let's get a little weird. Let's get a little odd. Those sounds you like to hear. We got it going on. It's the Oddcast. It's the Oddcast. It's the Oddcast. It's the Oddcast.
Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to the ODDCAST podcast, where we talk to people who are turning their passion into profession and their passion into paychecks. We have two very special guests today. We are in-house at Attitude Brewing in Barrio Logan, San Diego, California. We got Brian. We got Kurt. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
It's
good to be here.
spectacular. Yeah, it's spectacular to be here. So this is, first of all, I have to compliment you. The style of the location is so nice. The art is beautiful. I got to sample a beer from the private stash. Wink, wink. That was absolutely phenomenal. So congratulations on a great opening so far. When did you guys actually officially open? And where can they find you? AttitudeBrewing.com, of course.
Right. Well, we're located on the intersection of National Avenue and Cesar Chavez Boulevard in San Diego, California. Essentially right underneath the Coronado Bridge on the mainland side.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to
Very
find.
historical area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About a couple blocks from Chicano Park as well, right?
A block, maybe.
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stone's throw away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so how recent is this? Is the opening?
Well, I kind of consider our first official day of actually opening would be our grand opening, which was on Super Bowl weekend, February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of this year. So it's pretty recent. I started brewing back in August to build inventory and styles and kind of perfect some formulations with new equipment. But Super Bowl weekend this year was probably the best date.
That's when we had the kitchen open and we were really ready to rock and roll.
So that's like the full, kind of hard open seat,
Grand
really,
opening. Yeah, we had the ribbon cutting and,
Oh, wow.
whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations. It's awesome. I think one of the cool things about this brewery is, it's encompassed by the name, Attitude Brewing, and it says it right there. We've reserved the right to not serve for bad attitudes. And
That's right. It's all about your attitude.
it really is.
Come here to be engaging, uplifting, support your community, get to know your neighbor. That's the kind of attitude that we share here.
I totally agree. And, I think that beer, has a really actual solid power of bringing people together, and especially the craft beer community. I know that you did some home brewing up in Portland, and you were involved in some craft brewing up there. But I know the craft beer community is just such a strong community, and really, you find a lot of good people who care about the attitude. Not just being there down in your phone, being engaged in the neighborhood and what's going on, and kind of the vibe in general.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I really haven't met anybody in the craft industry or any of our patrons that don't want to share, don't want to ask questions, don't want to smile and have a great craft beer,
Yeah.
Even people you consider, competitors, other breweries in the neighborhood were so supportive, helped us, when we had questions about getting our brewing equipment set up, helped us wash kegs. They've been there every step of the way and just been really awesome. So it's a really neat community.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a total, I always call it the pull the ladder down mentality rather than pick it up once you've gotten over the wall. That people are willing to teach as much as they are, and I mean, it's really awesome. It's a great process. One of the things I found really interesting about what we were discussing earlier is you guys you've kind of gone through like working with different brewers, bringing in different people, whether it be from Brazil, whether it be you kind of taking the reins, as you were saying, prior to the grand opening, and you probably still have a big handle on it. How fun has that been, working with all these different people from different locales, and the influence on the beer? It must be phenomenal. I mean, it is. I've tasted it.
Yeah, I would say diversity is always good for building a product. Not one guy here knows everything, and we kind of feed off of each other and the information. We want to push the envelope, so we want to bring some outside influences, and we're say, for instance, yes, I've been home brewing for a long time. My education is through trial and error and formulation, experimentation, whereas some of the other brewers that come in, they have, degrees and master's degrees, and some from Berlin, some from the United States. Those influences, when we put all of our minds together, really come up with some spectacular formulations.
Wow, and something that like no one would have been able to make individually, but when the minds come together, it's something that no one would have ever thought.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
Yes, and we haven't really submitted to any kind of award-winning, platforms yet, but and that's to come. But we have some amazing formulations where you can't find anywhere else in San Diego, or really in the state of California, or even close to us.
I mean, you could probably say worldwide too, just based on the combinations that are put together. Now, you might have something from a particular part of the world, something from another particular part of California, but you're mixing them all together to create something that's theoretically worldwide unique. I mean,
Yeah, there's far-reaching influences to our beer for sure.
Yeah, I think sometimes a lot of people, especially within California, I mean, and San Diego, I'm guilty of this to a certain extent, kind of just think of this as the Mecca, and you tend to not look outside. But, there's so much more to be learned. And, I always say the most dangerous person in the room in a bad way is the person who thinks they have all the answers.
Sure.
Right. And, of course, living in a bubble, it's hard to see outside that bubble. San Diego's got a lot of good craft beer. There's no doubt about it. And all the good craft breweries here in San Diego, they travel, they study, they read. We're in a polite competition, so to speak. So we're paying attention. Everybody pays attention to what we're doing.
Yeah, that's neat seeing the things going on in Latin America. I mean, Baja. The brewing industry down there has just exploded in the last 5 years. And we go down there often, and it's nice to see the breweries are really up and coming and what they're doing. And then our last brewer was from Brazil, and they're also really ramping up their craft brew industry down there. And it's neat to see the flavors they're coming up with, the different types of fruits and ingredients they're using that you can't find other places in the world. So yeah, you get this really cool mix of true professionals that really bring in, their industry talent.
Yeah. One of the things you were saying, Brian, was how fastidious and how meticulous
Absolutely
the Brazilian brewers tend to be. And I mean, that goes.
Well, it's actually any good brewer.
You're right. You have to be
you have to be so methodical.
You do.
We're trying to create a great liquid, which everybody is going to taste. And if you have any off flavors, they can note it. And you don't really have to be an expert in a lot of ways, but certainly the beer geeks, they're looking for those off flavors, those off notes. And, you can't get that unless you are so meticulous how the process is done, but how your equipment is maintained as well is super important.
That's something on the back end that I feel like, maybe people might understand, okay, yes, there's a business side to this where you have to be managing numbers, doing taxes. No one really understands literally just the complexity of the sanitation of the brewery industry. It really, you spend so much time literally cleaning these things out, making sure they're pristine, especially if you're doing stuff with this is a live culture. It's a live.
Oh, sure. Any leftover proteins or amino acids, they multiply and very quickly when they hit a new batch of sugar or wort or anything like that.
I mean, I'm a biochemist, and coming into this world, it's really interesting to see how much science is really involved. I mean, it's about half art, half science, but you have to have the science down. And a few temperature degree difference, and you've got a different beer. Your yeast has to be exactly what you think it is. Your ingredients need to be dialed in. Your sanitation has to be perfect. Yeah. So it's a lot like what we do in the lab. You can ruin an experiment from very simple things, and it's the same thing with making beer.
Yeah.
We've got some really spectacular, guys making our beer that really know what they're doing. So,
yeah, totally. I mean, I think with because most craft breweries, are going to be unpasteurized. They don't do the heat up, the heat up deal, right? Where they heat everything up.
Well, like the post heating for pasteurization, nobody does that here because
exactly.
it's
super
just
expensive
too costly. Yeah,
but also,
and time consuming, and it'll take a lot of the flavor out of the beer as well.
Yeah, doesn't it kind of take the uniqueness that's brilliant about craft beer out of craft? I mean, I don't want to.
It's completely unnecessary, by the way.
Yes.
I think those were, legislation passed by.
Well, it's unnecessary in milk and all these other things that we pasteurize.
Monopolies.
You go down to Mexico, they're not pasteurizing their milk.
Yeah.
They're pasteurizing their eggs. They're not doing a lot of these things. And there are more instances of food poisoning, but in general, these things are safe.
Yeah. So, before we get too into it, I wanted to. What do we have here, just for the people?
So you asked me to pick out 4 beers.
Yes, I did. I wanted 4 beers that represent kind of what
So Attitude, we do the 20 different beer styles. I think 22, and from lagers and pilsners to Kolsch's and reds and a lot of traditional type of formulations and styles, but we've really been on this hazy kick. This haze craze is really coming to play in San Diego County big time, right?
I really thought, between the haze and the sour, it was funny. I thought the haze would die off a little faster for whatever reason. I love hazy, but
right.
I thought
sours, I think they lost quite a bit of steam. We don't get as much call for a sour as we do a hazy.
Yeah,
but I can't blame people because once they taste our hazies, they go, "Oh my gosh, whoa!
Yeah.
How did you do this?"
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is we have 4 different beers here. The first one is using it's a blonde ale, but we use a London Fog yeast. So, and there's 3 different generations of the London Fog. I'm not going to tell you which one I'm using, but we start out with a blonde. We wanted a blonde that was a little bit more with fruity alcohol esters and notes, and because we were going to add the tangerine extract that we do in-house to complement that beer. So if you do it with a Cali ale yeast, it comes out quite a bit drier and not as fruity.
Okay.
So we're really trying to match and blend these fruity flavors because pretty soon it'll be summer in San Diego, hopefully.
Right? God, I feel like
and
Seattle this year.
We want a summer ale. It's basically the ultimate pool beer or the beach beer that we're trying to come up with, right? And that's kind of our market. And then we use the same types of yeast for our hazy pale ale.
Okay.
And
iconic. This is a few of the places we've recently put that into. It's instantly become their best-selling beer in the entire restaurant.
Oh yeah,
it's a fantastic beer.
So it pairs well with food.
It's a hazy pale ale versus a hazy IPA. So you have a little bit lighter, a little less alcohol, but still a lot of that fruity.
Yeah, your West Coast pale ales. If you're familiar with like a Mirror Pond from Deschutes, or the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, or the Ballast Point Yellowtail, or those.
Now it's just Pale Ale, I believe. Ballast Point. I think they.
Yeah, no, Yellowtail. They sold that one to the wine company. So, so nobody's really done a hazy pale ale.
Yeah.
And I haven't either. This is my first. And this year they've admitted the hazy pale ale in the Great American Beer Festival competition. So we're definitely going to submit our iconic hazy pale.
Is that the first competition you're going to be entering?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dude, that's awesome.
We're finally getting our legs underneath of us. We're not building out anymore.
Yeah, let's hear it. Here, I'll pretend to be a judge right now. The nose on it is insane already. So it's what is this at 5.5% about?
6%.
6. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you don't get all the super bitterness, but you get a lot of great nose and very smooth. Yeah, it's great.
There's a lot of notes to that.
it's a easy beer to drink a lot of.
Yeah, this is a dangerous beer. It's
Yeah.
you could go through like a 6-pack of these pretty darn quickly.
Well, all of our beers are pretty dangerous. The scale climbs from there, believe
See,
me.
that's the good dangerous.
Yeah.
How I was saying the bad
Yeah.
dangerous is the guy who thinks he knows everything. These are good dangerous.
Yeah, that's a very crushable beer. That's something you can,
Absolutely.
drink pint after pint and just really be in a happy mood, So,
Yeah. Well, I really like, I as someone who, I like to think I know more probably than I do. I'm more of a consumer than a scientist or an artist behind beer. This is why I like sharing artist stories. But there's something about turning a pale ale into a hazy that it's totally different from a hazy IPA.
yeah,
I
so
don't know what
it
it
really
is.
changes the bitterness profile
Yeah.
from a West Coast pale ale, like I was mentioning, to more of a fruity citrus, I don't know. I just want to put on my sandals and shorts and go to the beach and hang out. It's
Is that
like
just the ABV increase, do you think, or is there something more to that?
it's not the ABV. It's the flavor profile, and a lot of that is complemented by the yeast that we're using
Okay.
and the hops that we're using. And I don't know. It's very uplifting.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah, it's like a bright sunny day, or
I feel like I could take a lap right now. I mean, this is great. It's sunny outside and it's raining in San Diego. I mean,
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Beach beer, pool beer, but I mean, it's just really light, really uplifting is the perfect word for it. It's phenomenal beer. Phenomenal beer.
Yeah, on a traditional West Coast, it has a little bit less than the bitterness profile.
Okay.
And so that calms it down, and the fruity comes up, and bam, you just get a great nose, and
Terrific.
people go, wow, every single time. Hey, try this. They're like, wow.
That is terrific.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The next one is taking a rung up the ladder here and going to the IPA style. This actually has a 52 IBU.
Okay.
It's our intense.
That's our intense hazy IPA,
When you say IBU, sorry, just for someone out there who might not know.
International Bitter Unit.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. And that International Bitter Unit, we use it because people have palates and they know what their palate likes. So if a lot of people like 80 to 100, 120 IBUs, they want that double, triple West Coaster, and which is great. And others go, oh God, I can't take the bitterness,
Okay.
I want something with all the flavor, but not so much bitter. And so it's kind of a balancing act between your alcohol by volume versus your IBU, and how do you blend a beer that's going to have all that great flavor, but not as much alcohol or bitterness for a large demographic.
This is a balancing act on a whole nother level.
Yes.
When it comes to, talking about literally pairing yeast with hops, with fruit, with flavor profile, with appealing to a widespread audience. You're thinking of so many different things.
Yeah, we just want to make a lot of happy people.
That's really awesome. I think that's what comes down to all the service industry, the craft brew industry. They really are focused. You folks are really focused on making as many people happy as possible.
Absolutely.
And with good places like this, like Attitude Brewing, it reigns true. And it's you could just tell this is a genuine place the second you walk in. It's awesome.
Yeah, everything is built from scratch. We don't have a piece of Chinese furniture anywhere.
And all pretty much built in the neighborhood, within a few blocks radius. Hand built the furniture,
by real craftspeople.
Counters by real craftsmen.
All design,
See
original
all the
designs
art.
too.
This is all original art, no prints. These are hand painted originals.
Yeah.
The art is that I love. First of all, I love your logo, but the art, you walk in here and it's absolutely breathtaking.
It really is.
These are phenomenal.
Yeah, I want the wow factor. It's a very competitive market. It's hard that market penetration is our first concern, and everybody that comes through here, we want them to go wow and share it with their friends. And so far, so good. It's been great. Our reviews are off the chart. People come back. They drink more beer. We're usually have a couple rotating tap handles that we're constantly tweaking and improving, or completely different styles than normal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try this intense?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So that's, I really, you have successfully created.
If you note, the haziness went up on the same rung as well as the IBUs and the
looks,
ABV.
visually, it looks a little more hazy than
Yeah.
too.
It's really a lava lamp.
You almost gave me a spit take, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Spit take. Oh wow, this is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a bigger beer.
You know what though? It does have that same. It's almost feels like I'm drinking a probiotic in a way or something. Like it settles my stomach.
Yeah, it's got a little zing to it. I like the mouthfeel on that beer a lot.
Yeah.
It has the naked oats and the rolled oats and to build that mouthfeel. And man, I have so many customers that come in here. That's all they want. Give me an intense. They buy it. They can get it at a 22-ounce glass.
Multiples.
And the 22-ounce glass is huge, and it does literally look like a lava lamp sitting there.
That's amazing.
It just glows, and it's like, whoa.
That's wonderful. Yeah, the color on it is absolutely beautiful. I wish you guys could see this in person, but you can if you come to Attitude Brewing. The color on it, like you said, even in this, I can see it in a large glass.
It was like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool.
Even more so with the dramatic.
Yeah, let's check out the
Speaking
next
of
one.
which, yeah.
Bam.
The light only makes it about that far up.
Yeah. This is a big hazy beer.
Named appropriately.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why we named that beer dramatic,
Okay.
and this will be fun, especially for the listeners here in San Diego County. There's all this drama about a hazy beer, and some brewers absolutely refuse to do a hazy. Others, that's all they do are hazies.
Yep.
And then you have all these wannabe hazy critics running around town going, oh, your beer isn't so hazy, and oh, this is a good beer, and it should be like this, and it should be like that. I want a Kool-Aid that looks like a beer or tastes like a beer. And I'm like, well, IPA has to have a number of IBUs. I like bitter beer. I don't really care what you think. I'm going to make my own beer. And so, we've kind of split away from maybe some of those like norms or expectations from the critics. So there's this drama wrapped up in it, right? And so all of our beers are named after a type of an attitude. So this is a dramatic attitude. So the intense, those people with intense attitudes, right, or jubilant. Our pool beer, which is a happy-go-lucky attitude.
They also call that one the drama queen because we use African queen hops in it. So that's kind of our internal.
That's our
internal name for it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, it sounds like you guys are like also sourcing like hops and yeast from a lot of diverse.
Yeah, mainly hops. Hops are grown around the world now, and there's hundreds of varieties, and they all have different properties and different flavors, and different reactions with the yeast and the malts, and it's a big experiment.
It really is.
Those South African hops were untouchable because InBev had gone out and bought the whole crop.
I remember that.
Well, they discovered that they can't use all of them, or maybe even a fraction of them know what to do with them.
Is that what happened? Really?
Yeah, they don't know what to do with them.
It was too much quantity.
And they've come back on basically the black market,
Have they had to take a price reduction in reselling them? I don't know if you can answer that.
I don't know. I thought the alpha acid profile, the flavor profiles were appropriate for what I wanted to accomplish in the beer. So I can't even remember what price they were, to be honest with you.
The price was right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. But that's interesting. I think what you guys are also doing here, which is really awesome, and I said this to Jay, I will say, but what you guys have accomplished here, and I've only tried your beer now once, but you guys have a signature taste as a craft brewery, which is super hard to accomplish as a dichotomy. And I mean that as a complimentary sense, because, that taste, I could be somewhere in, like you said, the top selling beer on tap at, where was it again? The new beer that you had on tap, it was like they were selling out.
Oh, the iconic?
Yeah, exactly, the iconic. So like there's clearly a signature taste behind it, but it's so cool because it's craft beer.
Oh yeah,
To accomplish that dichotomy is a really tough thing.
And I think we're doing an even better job of that with our new OG Haze series.
Yeah,
I mean, that's only been out for a few months, and that's become some of our top-selling beers.
Dude.
I think our top-selling beers, right?
Yes, but it's top secret.
Okay.
Yeah, we're actually gonna launch our brand with our distributors with an the Dramatic is amazing in its own right. But through the course of the last 4 or 5 months, we've been manipulating some formulations, and then to get even more amazing, and that's what I like about a small brewery. We can experiment, and we can push the envelope. We can go outside the box and say, well, what if this and what if that? We're not risking a whole lot of money if it doesn't really turn out.
Exactly.
Where the bigger you are, the harder it is to risk big batches and stuff like that. We have a 9-barrel system.
But it's amazing how much beer you can make with a 9-barrel system if you
If you just
utilize
grind.
it.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of beer.
Yeah, and I think that also, like, in a sense, I mean, gives you, an autonomy of control to where you can really, like, see the change that you affect. Like, oh, I did this a little differently, and it turned out a little better, so I'm going to continue to do that.
Yeah, the Intense was awesome when we first started, but we're now on our 6th formulation, and it's even better.
Yeah,
and
I think inherently too in this game, in any creative endeavor, and this is corny, but it's really like you can't consider anything as, I mean, it's a setback, but it's not a failure. And you can really find that you learn more from brewing maybe a beer that you didn't want to brew, and you're like, okay, this is what I shouldn't do next time. And as long as you're willing to dust yourself off and get back on your feet and really not feel sorry for yourself, you can really, I mean, there's a lot of ways to be a creator in this day and age, so.
Oh, yeah, that's the fun part about it. And what was it? Hobbies to paychecks or something like that?
Passion to paychecks.
Passion to paychecks. Yeah, I haven't seen a paycheck yet, but I've got a lot of passion, right?
I'll tell you, me too, my friend.
But that's what drives an artist. That's what drives me personally is if you do the right thing, the money will come. It might take a while. It's taken a long time, but I think we're on the right path to success.
Oh yeah, and I think, I mean, again, it is a necessity, the monetary aspect of it. Of course, you have a family to feed, you have yourself to feed. I mean, geez Louise.
Yeah.
But the monetary thing, when you're so passionate about something, that passion almost defines you so much that the monetary aspect is almost secondary, other than the fact of needing to provide.
Yeah. It was a big endeavor too. I mean, this is a big space, and we have a full restaurant, a great menu. So it's not like we opened a little brewery in a garage. I mean, we went big.
Yeah, well, I respect that. That's the gung ho move, just going full throttle with it. And I mean, I think you guys realized you had a good product, so why not push it?
Yeah, well, I've been brewing since 1983.
Wow,
that's a long time, and I've made a lot of bad beer, just like any other home brewer. Starting out and refining, formulations and techniques, but. Over the years, you really you learn how to put it together to where you get a pretty amazing result. And, bringing on these other brewers as well has been a great influence. And it's starting small, it's even harder to make money. You have to start at a certain size to where you can at least balance everything and get into the black as soon as possible.
That's a really
I've seen a lot of small breweries start with a 3-barrel system and a one-man band.
You don't have enough to distribute. You don't have enough to really.
Yeah, they run out of beers.
It's like you can't even talk to a distributor at that point, really. I mean,
Yeah, well,
right?
and it's very hard to afford employees and taxes and et cetera, et cetera. It just goes up from there. So when I first did my business plan, I wanted to start with the smallest brewery I felt that could sustain the marketing.
That's interesting.
The marketing experiment. This is really just a big marketing experiment to make sure that we can we could pay our bills at this point and see how the market responds to our product, and it's favorable, and then we go into phase 4. So
And
we're almost there.
So, well, we are looking forward to phase 4. And let me just hear. Let me see. We've run the gamut on a lot of good topics so far. We're 30 minutes in.
Wow.
It felt like 15.
It doesn't take much to get me talking beer.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, that's
Or drinking beer.
that's
I haven't had any beer today. I'm about to.
that's what's so awesome though about, like, you know, they said the classic is follow your passion. You never work a day in your life, right? You know, like, and
My first passion was fishing.
yeah,
So I opened up a fishing manufacturing company.
yeah.
Ran it for 18 years and did a lot of fishing. My second passion is drinking beer. My retirement plan is to drink beer and fish.
So it's a combination of your passion.
Yes.
Drink his beer, use his lures.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
that's even more incredible. So not only is it, there's the step further. It's you sell yourself short. You say my retirement passion is to drink beer and fish. No, it's not that. It's to drink your beer and fish on your lures and do it the way you want to do. And you know what?
Pretty cool.
It's really cool. And, like, you know, time and time again.
When I was fishing before, I was drinking everybody else's beer. Now I'm drinking my beer and I'm not fishing a lot, you know, and pretty soon, you know, as things develop here, that'll change more and more. So
Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal. Is there any? I don't want to give anything away. Is there any plans to maybe do a collaboration with, like, a fishing charter or an Attitude? That'd be kind of fun. There's probably insurance liability there off the chart.
Well, yeah, no, not necessarily. I haven't looked that far in the future. I just want to go fishing and drink beer, beer.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think, is there any similarity now between fishing and brewing?
the fishermen are very passionate about their sport. I mean, they get into it. They live, eat, and breathe this stuff, and that's kind of what we do with our beer. And we're once a week we do a bottle share.
Okay.
And we're checking out everybody else's and inviting new people to the bottle share. It's kind of a community event, a friendship, bonding session.
It's also a good way to look at the top beers of each style and see, how you compare and where we can be better or where we think we're better. So, it's like owning a French restaurant and going to the best French restaurants in the country and seeing, how you compare.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. I think that's a super.
And we get to drink beer while we do it. I mean, it's hard to call it a profession, but it really is. I mean, that's how serious we take it.
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. And when you look, when you get to wake up in the morning and regardless of what a grind it's going to be, I actually did another interview this morning before going to a family event and then coming here. But I mean, I just enjoy meeting people. I enjoy sharing people's stories. And I think there's a certain calling behind it. When you feel it, you got to follow it, right? And there's something to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend of mine last night who came in. He's an architect, and he designed our flights and with the wood, and he has this little business, and he's really passionate about making unique items out of wood.
Wow.
That's his passion.
That's awesome.
But he couldn't make a real living at it, so he went back into architecture. He was in here drinking a beer. I'm like, "Hey, Oscar, how's it going, man?" He's like, "I'm just absolutely bored stiff out of my mind going to work for somebody else. I need to find something that I can enjoy and pay the bills." And so there is a big difference. A lot of people, I think, are stuck in that.
Like most people, for sure.
Inertia and wanting to branch out and find something they love to do.
So here's the perfect segue then, because the theme is passion to paychecks.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you guys could impart? I am not saying that none of us know it all, but having gone through the actual process, and again, not fully, the paychecks aspect, but getting, from my perspective, getting pretty darn close. Is there any advice out there to maybe inspire someone to take the metaphorical leap, whether they're still working, a job, or whether it's, doing it full time.
Well, I would say if you're going to take a leap, try to jump on a solid footing. This isn't my first business. This is like my fifth, and each time, it's that degree of passion. It's going to get you through the toughest situations, and they're all coming. They all been here. It'll happen time and time again, and it's about that passion getting you through, not giving up.
It has to be something you really, really are passionate about, because it's a hell of a lot of work.
Yes.
And if you're not fully committed, you're
amount
not going to be
of work.
able to make it or survive.
That's the thing that I think, to play on that point, that's the thing I think that sometimes, I guess I could admit to this, I didn't realize I was practicing law before, or I wasn't practicing. I was doing law work before this. I went to UC Hastings. And, I was working less doing that than I am doing this, because I want to push it that bad. But because I'm okay with it, it makes those 16-hour days, those 20-hour days.
Yeah, you feel accomplished. You feel like, you've personally been rewarded for what your effort has done.
Someone else hasn't. And it's not even that someone else hasn't been. I would. That's why I love sharing people's stories. It's that I love to promote. Like it's all about it. But there's something to be said of waking up every morning and furthering your own vision of what you feel that you can provide. And that's very powerful.
And if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it.
Exactly.
It's not going to get done. So.
Exactly. There's how many. I always say the best everything probably might not be doing what they're doing. They might be talking about it and never took the steps, and they could have been, but they never did.
Yeah, it's jumping from a secure footing to an insecure footing, and living a roller coaster for quite a while until you get stability and you understand business, and it's sustainable, and you build a brand that resonates with your consumers, and they seek it out, and there's and all the things in between. It's just it's challenging.
It is challenging, and I sincerely appreciate you guys sharing the story so far, and before we go too darn long, because this conversation just keeps getting better and better, I want to leave it open for us to come back and revisit this at one point.
Yeah, I would say one of our passions have led to a pretty amazing beer. The beer that we've definitely shared with everyone today.
Uh-huh.
But there are a few more beers coming that are even better, like big.
I think they're going to be pretty exciting.
Yes.
I'm telling you, so that's the teaser for that. That's what's coming up, and then obviously, like you said, entering the hazy pale ale in the competition.
Sure.
So that's the first competition entry. So we have that to look forward to.
We're doing more shows, beer festivals. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have the San Diego Beer Fest in Liberty Station, June 15th. We'll be there, and you come down to the booth, check us out. I'm sure we'll have maybe an iconic on. It's selling so well. I don't know if I'll have any left, but definitely an awesome hazy is going to be there, and probably another lighter beer.
Yeah.
So we can, be sure to service all the beer drinkers there. So
that's awesome. And then I want to leave the floor open to you guys for any quick shout outs you want to give, like just, to whether it's, the team, obviously, to just, anyone. It's the time is yours.
Oh, we have a great team. Shout out to our kitchen staff.
To our awesome customers.
We
have some really fantastic, loyal customers that are in there all the time, and they just brighten your day. They're just great people, fun to talk to. They love what you're doing, and it just makes it feel like a family environment.
And that kind of probably pushes you guys. When you see someone like coming back again and again, that probably has to be.
Oh, it's so satisfying! Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Most satisfying thing.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
We have a great facility here. We have an amazing facility. We can seat or have at least 160 people inside the facility.
Wow.
So it's great for mixers, socials, corporate events. even a pre-wedding kind of stuff, and birthday parties, charity events. We've done a ton of the charity stuff through
And that's
here.
Attitude. They can contact you guys at attitudebrewing.com for that.
Yeah, or hit us up at Instagram or Facebook or whatever they want to message us.
I always do that because then I put it across when I do it on the video.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So you can find them at Attitude Brewing on Instagram and then attitudebrewing.com. And again, it's whether I feel like this is such. You could come here for the casual brew, you can come here as a loyal customer, and you can come here to plan a corporate event and everything in between.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And for those odd people who don't like beer, we have a full selection of wine. We have kombucha. We have cider. We have
Organic soda.
organic soda. So
And phenomenal
take care
food.
of everybody.
Yeah, phenomenal food.
Family friendly, kid friendly. Bring your dogs in. I mean, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, and
Thanks for everyone.
that's what it's all about. So guys, I appreciate your time, Kurt, Brian. Thank you so much.
You got it,
Thank
Mike. Pleasure's mine.
Oh, yeah. And then, hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the ODDCAST, where we talk to people who are turning their passion into profession and their passion into paychecks. Thank you so much. Find us at www.theoddcast.live, L-I-V-E. Instagram, you know where to find us. And we appreciate you. Attitude Brewing, love, peace, and chicken grease.
Let's get a little weird. Let's get a little odd. Those sounds you like to hear. We got it going on. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST.